Hey everybody, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. I'm Dylan, that's Dan, and today we are going to talk about Superman and Lois episode 9. Yes.
8 and 9.
8 and 9,
because we didn't do 8 last week.
We skipped last week because Benny said that he was going to catch up and do it, but then he didn't, so we didn't film.
That and I did not have a voice. I was over here like,
oh, okay.
Oh, this is my voice. That's one of the main reasons is I was not audible in any way. So
as you can see, Benny is still not here. He'll be here at some point. He's got a lot of stuff to watch.
Yeah.
But
he'll be here by the finale, hopefully.
Probably. So. But for the time being, we're gonna gush about this show some more because it's still great.
It's so good. It's become one of the shows I watch as my safety show.
Yeah.
Like, it's become one of the ones that I go, you know what? I want to actually enjoy this. I want something that I can consistently enjoy. And this is one of the ones that I go, I'm going to watch Superman.
Yeah.
And let's do this. Let's see what's happening. Because for the first time probably in my entire life, I've been excited about Superman. That's not something that happens.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I made a whole video years ago about how Superman isn't interesting unless he's a villain, which I don't agree with anymore. But
that's because too many versions are villainous at this point.
Right. And it's like I hadn't experienced any like good Superman content. And obviously, I've read stuff that's before this show that has been good
and I
Superman
should say
content.
solo Superman content because I do like his like group stuff when he's doing with other people, but very rarely just Superman centric. Do I enjoy this much?
It's also something interesting that I realized about episode 9 was that I feel like we don't actually see Superman a lot in this show, and I'm totally cool with that. Like we see Clark a lot. But we don't see Superman like doing Superman things because it was so weird to me. Because in this episode or in episode 9, something that he does is Superman flies off to Mexico just to stop a random bank robbery. And the point of the scene is that the kryptonite gas that he was hit with a couple episodes ago is still affecting him.
Yep.
But it was so strange because I was like, what are they doing? Why are they showing just Superman stopping a random bank robbery? And it was just like, it was such a strange thing because usually we don't see that in this show, which I'm fine with, which is strange.
It's funny because when that scene happened, my first thought was, okay, I'm glad they're finally showing a scene of Superman still doing Superman things. Like while all of this is going on, he's still Superman. He's doing stuff like this. So when they first showed that, because I don't think they have shown Superman do anything outside of Smallville and Metropolis in this show so far.
Yeah, I
think
was
it's a nice reminder.
There was the cold open of episode 6, I think, where he just like stopped a train from doing something stupid. He did some heroic act in the cold open a couple episodes ago. I remembered it because it was really it looked really pretty. But I don't. That might have been related to the plot in some way. I don't remember. But yeah, it was kind of a jarring scene, but it worked well. Once you kind of knew like what the point of the scene was,
exactly,
and it's also nice to think of like, you know, he's still clearly doing this stuff off screen. We're just not being shown it because it's not relevant, which is, you know, completely valid. And I think that's why I'm okay with not seeing a lot of Superman, and especially in episode 8, last week's episode, where it was basically just an episode about everyone except Clark. With a big focus on Lois and Jonathan. Like this show has somehow weaseled its way out of me not caring into like, I love all of these characters now.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And not only love all these characters, love the development that they're doing with the characters. Like, I've been enjoying the progression of, I can't remember his name, Lana's husband. I wasn't expecting Kyle.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Kyle. Like, I was not expecting to enjoy the character, but as it's gone on, I'm kind of like, this guy's growing on me. But I'm not sure if we're going to be doing a spoiler, but there was a character that was introduced at the very end of this episode that I was like, okay, you did not give me anything about this, but I'm very excited to see where this is going to go.
I feel like you called that very early on.
Oh, I definitely did. But
sort of in like a roundabout way. Let's just talk about it, because I don't want to be vague. Like, they haven't confirmed it, but it's Zod, right? Like, that's Zod.
It's either Zod or a child of Zod, or like his son or son. Ooh. His son from the Phantom Zone, the one that he has, like, that does not really know anything outside.
Because he said brother. Like, so the end of this episode, Morgan Edge shows up, like, flying in, like, a black Krypton suit, and he's like, "It's time I tell you who I am, brother Kal-El." And like, it's definitely Zod or someone Zod related. And I think what you said, like, early on with what's her face, the redhead girl, you said that she reminded you of someone from, like, one of Zod's generals from, like, from Superman 2. Yeah, which, like, is spot on. I don't know if that's what they were going for. But.
Exactly, because this would also make so much sense of the whole, they're putting Kryptonians in these bodies. Who else would these Kryptonians listen to than General Zod? Like, literally their general. Mm-hmm. I mean...
Which, it's interesting to me, because we also got the turn in this episode that because we learned last week that is what they were doing, finally. It was kind of hinted at the whole time, but which, like, kind of expertly done, I will say. Like, the foreshadowing of this with, like, Derek Powell and everything was very well done.
Yeah.
And those were episodes that, like, we weren't really liking, so give those credit.
I'm wondering if we would enjoy them more now that we know what happened.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, the worst one with the, like, bad editing that I remember. I don't think there's any way.
We're not talking about that episode. That episode didn't exist.
But so it's interesting now, like, because the reveal that they did sort of is that when the, like, Kryptonian, like, people come out, the regular person, like, blacks out. They don't remember anything.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're being, like, cult-like brainwashed. They just straight up are, like, being replaced, but only half of them.
They're body swapping, basically.
Yeah. Which is interesting because, like, they're showing their hand a little early, I think, because, like clearly now we know that almost all of these people who have been swapped are going to go back to normal. Superman's going to save them all. Mm-hmm. Except probably, like, Edge, who I assume is fully taken over. And
I think Edge is the only one that is truly a Kryptonian. And really? I think that he either did arrive on this planet at the same time. Mm-hmm. Either that, he escaped the Phantom Zone somehow at some point, maybe related to one of the other villains or something like that, or he came from the universe that John Henry came from. I'm wondering if he kind of, like,
that'd be interesting,
tagged along. Like, we go back to the scene of him on the spaceship and it, like, looks underneath and he's just grabbing on, like, haha, I'm gonna join you through this portal.
I just had a brain blast. What if so Kal-El from John Henry Irons' universe is inside of Morgan Edge, and that's how they're related. That's how they're brothers, and that's the he already did this on Steele's universe, but he, like, failed because Steele got away or whatever. So he went with him because he was on the ship, like, when Steele was going through. Maybe he died, but his, like, consciousness, like, flew into Morgan Edge or something. That'd be cool, because Morgan Edge is clearly really, like,
cool.
People know who Morgan Edge is in this universe, and he's well. There was a Morgan Edge in Arrow, I think, who looked different than the one in this one, but we're not going to talk about that.
So you're kind of saying this is a Harrison Wells situation with the Reverse Flash. I would be okay with that, honestly, because
me too.
Like, it would be, even if it wasn't a, like, oh, he failed on this universe, but more of a what I would see being a more likely one of, he conquered this universe, but saw this other universe with another Kal-El or another universe that he could conquer and, like, is now conquering the multiverse. Or it's for all we know, it is what you're talking about and related to the most recent Crisis. Like, when they merged all the worlds at the end of the last Crisis, that potentially he came through. But either way, that reveal, I was like, okay, I need the next episode. Like, because the next one's gotta be intense. Like we gotta be getting to that point. We've got Jordan with freeze breath as well now.
I love that his powers are like slowly revealing themselves, and like it's an interesting way every time. Like he's sick this time. He was like, it's always like, you ever play the Princess Peach game on the Nintendo DS? No? Well, okay, so it's a horribly sexist game.
What an obscurely random game to mention. But okay, I'm gonna follow you here.
In that game, Princess Peach has superpowers, but they manifest through emotions. So like, she cries and it creates like puddles of water for her to walk over and stuff.
Okay.
And that's kind of how like Jordan's powers are manifested. Like he gets really upset, so he cries out laser vision. He gets sick, so he sneezes freeze breath. You see what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No,
he's angry and he gets super strength.
Which I also like every time that they're like, oh crap, we need to get rid of Jordan. Have something go wrong, send him to the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, mess him up for a little bit. Throw him through the ringer. Poor guy. I like that this wasn't even his fault this time. Like, it's just his grandpa's fault for making Kryptonite gas. Which also, I wanted to give credit to, I don't know if it was last week's episode or the episode before it, but the confrontation between Superman and Sam when they were talking about, like, I made this Kryptonite stuff. It was experimental. It wasn't supposed to be used on you.
It was last episode.
It's my job. Yeah, so last week, when that happened, and Clark wasn't like, how dare you, and then flies away and cries about it, he was just like, I understand. Like, it's your job.
Right.
We've been through this before, probably. Like, we're both adults. We can handle this. It's like, that is the best depiction of that confrontation I have ever seen.
Yes. And I 100% agree, because it is one of those, you're so angry, but at the same time, you understand.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, we're literally in the situation of there are other Kryptonians. Like, this is the reason why people have to prepare for the worst.
Yeah. It's there are people who like treat Superman as a hypocrite in that confrontation so many times, where he's like, yeah, I want to be able to protect everyone, but also he should be able to understand that, you know, people are scared of him and there are other people like him. So it's just, you know, like, obviously people are going to make these weapons. Kryptonite is a thing. You have to like live with it. You don't have to go and like cry in a corner about it and be like, no, you can't have that. And it's like, they did that a lot in Supergirl, where I think Martian Manhunter was, he had like a store of Kryptonite at the DEO, and Supergirl was like, well, how dare you? You told me you didn't. And I was like, I don't care. Like, who gives a shit? Supergirl, like, wake up. Obviously, they're going to have Kryptonite. You work here.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure if you caught, but you probably did, that kind of piqued my interest of future storylines, was that when they mention the Kryptonite, they mention all the kinds of Kryptonite landed.
Yeah.
Meaning,
how many do you think they're going to do?
Red Kryptonite, gold Kryptonite. Who knows? Maybe we'll get like the one that... Isn't there one that like splits him into red and blue version of Superman? And
you want to talk about all the weird Kryptonites? Go back and watch Smallville.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
let's get all those Kryptonites.
It would just be interesting because of the fact that they very clearly stated there are many kinds of Kryptonite all over the world right now, which I liked because it was a simple mention that they can use later down the road of...
They can mine later, because it's Kryptonite. Dan checked out. He's done.
Oh, Dylan.
I'm sorry. Do I have to rescind? Do I have to edit that out now?
No. But... I have a feeling that we're going to get a combination of this whole, there's Kryptonite around the world. Plus, I have a feeling that the fact that the bank robbery that he got knocked out during, the fact that it was in Mexico, I think that's going to actually play into some sort of storyline later on of the world knows. that he can get weakened by this, and then he's going to get like the trap set up. Some other country is going to create an emergency that he has to go there, and then they're going to use the kryptonite, and they're going to imprison Clark, and then his sons are going to have to go and save him. You can take that plot line, CW. That's actually was pretty good. But I'm enjoying this show so much, dude.
Me too.
So good.
So like, what a 180 this show has made. From like this show like felt like it was posing, like it looked like something better than it was,
right?
But now it's like it just like is good. Like they finally figured it out, which is so great. Especially like last week, that the whole kind of the theme of last week's episode was Lois and Jonathan like struggling with being normal people surrounded by like a world of supers. Yeah. And that like that relationship, especially like the because the whole episode of last week was like framed around Lois having a therapy session, which apparently is a thing that superhero shows do now, which I love.
I was actually okay with it. At first I was like, wait, what's going on? But as it progressed, I'm like, okay, it's fun. It was a great way to really dive deep into the psyche of Lois Lane without trying to force a plot. Like, I thought that was just very well done, because it's hard to make a true plot line with Lois Lane and progress the character emotionally and all of that, because everyone else does play such a significant role. Like, she does have Clark as her husband. She does have the kids. There's no real time for her to have this self-reflecting moment, and to have it in a therapy session as like just an exposition of these things that are connecting the different people, that are showing how she feels about everything. I thought it was very well done. I commend them, because that was a very well done and a good way to do it without it seeming forced, and seem like just a natural, this is what she would do in a therapy session.
Yeah. It also normalizes therapy, which is great.
Yes. Did that as well.
Like, especially like the somebody made a comment that, and I know you haven't seen the first episode of Loki yet. I'm not going to spoil anything. Somebody made a comment that I saw somewhere that was like, the Marvel Disney Plus shows so far have had one theme, and it's been therapy.
Oh, I said
been like, oh yeah, you're right, totally. And I think that's just like, I think after a year of nightmares, everyone's just kind of like writing like for their own sake into these shows now. So it's, you know, it's a really solid like character work on this show. Which is not like, just not something I expected when watching the first couple episodes. And like, I worry about giving this show the amount of trust I'm giving it, but I don't know. Historically, CW shows usually do have pretty good first seasons. So we'll see about the future of the show. I try to think of like bad directions this show can go in, and I think of like, you know, the last episode we learn about Lois and Clark's miscarriage, and I'm like, oh no, if this were the Flash, then the Natalie from an alternate universe would come and be evil, and it'd be like, I don't.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Please, no.
But I think they know where they're going now. They fired all the people who were confused about who these characters were, or just like locked their computers away for a little bit.
Right.
We're on track now, and it's good.
This seems it feels like they were kind of trying to figure out what they wanted this show to really be, and they found their groove. They found their real direction, and like are really running with it. And bravo CW. For once, bravo.
For once.
Not for once. Because Legend's also great. But I like, this one is kind of, this almost feels like the first couple episodes of this were like season 1 of Legends. And then since then has been season 2 and 3 of Legends, where they really went, okay, so people want the comedy. Like, this is what we're going to go with the show. And I feel like that's what Superman and Lois, not the comedy part, but they know what they want to do.
Character work and the plot reveals and stuff. Because there's like 4 plot reveals in this episode.
There were
a lot going on.
How many episodes are in this season?
This
do we know?
was episode 9. I think there's 15. I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
So something like that. There's a few more to go. I know. I saw a headline earlier that Tom Cavanaugh is directing the finale, which is interesting. Maybe he'll show up as Reverse Flash. Probably not.
Oh, that's dumb. Okay. I was like, Tom Cavanaugh. Is that Harrison Wells shows up? Hey, it's Sherlock.
I feel like they are, because they have kind of been like drip feeding like multiverse stuff for a while. Maybe the season finale will be like something to tie it in, which is gonna be strange, right? Because like they staved Black Lightning off for so long because the tone was so different, and like this version of Superman showed up in Supergirl where the tone was super different, and then he goes over to his own show and the tone is like drastically different. So I don't know what they're doing. Same with like Batwoman. Like, I mean, they're never going to cross Batwoman over again.
We're not going to even touch on Batwoman, excluding the fact that I believe they like showed a picture that they're going to bring in Batwing.
Yeah, they're doing Batwing apparently.
So I'm not going to find out.
No, if somebody tells us that it's good, maybe I'll give it a shot, but Kate Kane is gone. Just, if people have watched Batwoman, can you tell me, like, is the new Batwoman, do the writers treat her well? Like, does she actually win? And is not treated like an idiot? Because if so, maybe I'll watch Batwoman. But who knows? Because a lot of my problems did come with Kate Kane specifically and how they were treating her and also her supporting cast, but whatever.
That show just in general was
a mess.
Yeah.
That is what it's interesting, because that Batwoman is what this show could have turned out to be, because it was the same thing, like darker tone. It was shot like better. Which it was really just in the color grading, and they like shrunk the aspect ratio a little bit. But like if this show didn't like get its act together as quickly, then it could have gone the way of Batwoman. I'm very glad it didn't.
Yeah, you can tell in this one that I feel like they took a lot of notes from Stargirl in the sense of the amount of time they're putting into the school versus the amount of time that they're putting into the superhero stuff, because that was something that at least later on in the season of Stargirl, they did a great job that a lot of it was focused on Stargirl and the JSA. And I feel like this one, a lot of it's focused on like the powers, Superman, the Kryptonite, like the superhero stuff, and not the fear that we all had of do not start doing too much stuff of the high school. And like they could have stretched out the whole Jonathan with that one girl to be so much bigger and so much longer than it had to be. But they were like, no, this is it. It's done.
Which
hopefully
that seemed kind of strange to me.
It was an odd one.
Sarah was like, "Stay away from that girl," and like, was she just saying that because she knew she was gonna turn him down? But like, I thought it was like she was like evil or something. But
let's be honest, we're gonna later find out that those two were best friends, and she betrayed her and became the popular girl or something.
Right. But I don't know. It's for 4 episodes, this show has been really good, and it's got my trust now. So don't break it.
Yes, don't give me trust issues.
Yeah,
don't give us trust issues,
please. We already have them from The Flash.
Once again, I'm not even going to touch that one.
Fair. All right. Well, this has been Absolutely Marvel in DC. Stay tuned to the channel. Click that notification bell. I think Supergirl comes back next week. I'm not sure. So Superman might be on hiatus for a minute. We'll see.
I hope not.
Who's to say? I'm Dylan.
There will be one next week. I actually looked it up. We've got Oh Mother, Where Art Thou coming out June 15th. So
great. All right. So we will be back next week for more Superman.
Yes.
I'm Dylan. That's Dan. See y'all next week.
Bye, guys.